Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today's story is one that will truly touch your heart. It's about loneliness, kindness, and a small act of compassion that changed several lives forever. Imagine being surrounded by wealth, luxury, and success, but still feeling completely alone. That's exactly how the daughter of one of the most powerful CEOs in the city felt on the most important day of her life, her birthday. The large glass windows of the luxurious hospital rehabilitation center overlooked the busy city streets below. Cars moved like tiny insects, people rushed to work, and life seemed to move forward without pause. But inside one quiet room on the third floor, time felt frozen. Seated beside the window in a wheelchair was a 12-year-old girl named Emily. Soft sunlight fell across her pale face as she stared outside without saying a word. A small table sat beside her, decorated with a tiny pink cake that had already begun to melt under the warmth of the room. The candle on top had never been lit. Today was Emily's birthday, but no one had come. Nurses walked past her room, doctors moved through the hallway, and somewhere far away someone laughed. Yet inside the room, silence filled every corner. Emily slowly looked down at her hands resting in her lap. Her fingers gently brushed against the blanket covering her legs she hadn't been able to move for nearly 2 years. 2 years earlier, Emily's life had been completely different. She had been energetic, cheerful, always running through the huge gardens of her father's mansion. Her father, Richard Lawson, was one of the richest CEOs in the country. He owned several technology companies and was known as a man who never lost a deal, but one rainy night changed everything. That a terrible car accident had taken Emily's ability to walk. Doctors tried surgeries, therapy, and every advanced treatment money could buy. But the result was always the same. Emily remained paralyzed. Her father blamed himself. That night, he had been rushing to an important business meeting and insisted they drive quickly. Since the accident, guilt had followed him like a shadow. Richard Lawson spent even more time at work, burying himself in meetings and business expansions, unable to face the pain he felt every time he saw his daughter's wheelchair. That he loved Emily deeply, but he didn't know how to deal with the guilt in his heart. So on her 12th birthday, he had promised he would visit the hospital after finishing a crucial meeting overseas, but the meeting was delayed, and delayed again. Hours passed. Emily sat quietly in the room, watching the clock tick. Slowly, tick, tick, tick. She had hoped at least someone from her father's company or maybe one of the house staff would come. Maybe a friend from school, but after the accident, many things changed. Her friends didn't know what to say anymore. Invitations slowly stopped. Messages became fewer. Eventually, the world moved on. Emily sighed softly and looked again at the untouched birthday cake. I guess, maybe next year, she whispered to herself. Just outside the hospital building, a tired man stepped off a city bus holding the hand of his 6-year-old daughter. His name was Daniel Carter. Daniel was a single father who worked long hours as a maintenance technician for several buildings around the city. Life had never been easy for him, especially after his wife passed away when their daughter Lily was only 3 years old. Since then, Daniel had been both father and mother to Lily. They didn't have much money. Their small apartment had squeaky floors, second-hand furniture, and sometimes the electricity bill made Daniel worry late into the night. But what they did have was something many wealthy people never found. They had each other. That afternoon Daniel had brought Lily to the hospital because his elderly neighbor had been admitted earlier that morning. Lily insisted on coming along because she had drawn a colorful picture she wanted to give the old woman. As they walked down the hospital hallway, Lily held her drawing proudly. "Daddy, do you think Mrs. Thompson will like it?" she asked. Daniel smiled warmly. "I'm sure she will, sweetheart." They passed several rooms while searching for the correct number. Suddenly Lily slowed down. She noticed something inside one of the rooms they were passing. A girl sitting alone in a wheelchair, next to her, a birthday cake, but no one else was there. Lily stopped walking. "Daddy, wait," she said quietly. Daniel turned back. "What is it?" Lily pointed toward the room. "Why is that girl alone on her birthday?" Daniel looked inside the room. His heart tightened slightly at the sight. The young girl by the window looked distant, as if she had been forgotten by the world. He hesitated for a moment. Hospitals could be sensitive places, and he didn't want to intrude, but Lily tugged gently on his hand. "Daddy, can we say happy birthday to her? Daniel looked down at his daughter's hopeful eyes. Lily had inherited her mother's kindness, something Daniel treasured deeply. After a brief pause, he nodded. Okay, he said softly. They gently knocked on the door. Emily turned her head slowly. Come in, she said. The door opened and Lily walked in first with a shy smile. Hi, she said. Emily looked confused but curious. Hi, Lily stepped closer. My name is Lily. I saw your cake. Is it your birthday? Emily nodded slightly. Yeah, it is. Lily's eyes lit up. Happy birthday. For the first time that day, Emily smiled just a little. Thank you. Daniel stepped forward politely. Sorry for interrupting. My daughter noticed the cake and wanted to say hello. Emily shook her head gently. It's okay. Lily looked around the room. Where are your friends? The innocent question hung in the air for a moment. Emily looked down again at her hands. I guess they're busy. Lily frowned slightly. That's not fair. Birthdays are supposed to have people. Daniel felt a quiet ache in his chest hearing those words. Then Lily suddenly brightened. Wait, she said excitedly. She pulled something out of her small backpack. It was a tiny pack of colorful birthday candles and a small lighter shaped like a star. Daniel looked surprised. Where did you get those? Lily grinned. I always carry birthday candles. Just in case. Emily laughed softly. Just in case of what? In case someone forgets a birthday, Lily said proudly. Daniel chuckled quietly while Lily carefully placed the candles on Emily's cake. Within seconds, tiny flames flickered gently. The warm light filled the quiet hospital room. Lily clasped her hands together. Okay, she said. Make a wish. Emily stared at the candles for a moment. No one had sung to her yet. No one had celebrated, but here were two strangers, making her birthday feel real again. Daniel began softly. Happy birthday to you. Lily joined loudly and happily. Happy birthday to you. Emily couldn't stop the tears forming in her eyes. For the first time in months, she didn't feel invisible. When the song ended, Lily clapped excitedly. Blow them out. Emily leaned forward and blew gently. The candles went dark. Silence filled the room for a moment. Then Lily hugged her carefully. See? Now it's a real birthday. Emily wiped a tear from her cheek. Thank you, both of you. Daniel smiled warmly. You deserve a proper birthday. They spent the next 30 minutes talking, laughing, and sharing the cake. Emily told them about the accident and her father's busy life. Daniel listened quietly, understanding more than she realized. Before leaving, Lily gave Emily the drawing she originally made for Mrs. Thompson. I want you to have it instead, she said. The drawing showed 3 people holding hands under a bright sun. Emily looked at it for a long moment. Thank you, Lily. Just then, footsteps echoed in the hallway. A tall man in an expensive suit appeared at the door. It was Richard Lawson. Emily's father. He had finally arrived, but when he stepped inside, he froze. Instead of finding his daughter alone, he saw her laughing with a man and a small child while cake crumbs covered the table. For a moment he simply stood there, confused. Emily looked up. Dad. Richard blinked, surprised by the happiness in her voice. Emily. I'm sorry I'm late. He then turned toward Daniel. Who are you? Daniel stood politely. My name is Daniel Carter. My daughter noticed Emily sitting alone and wanted to celebrate her birthday with her. Richard looked down at Lily holding Emily's hand. Something inside him shifted. For months he had tried to fill the emptiness with money, doctors, and business deals, yet 2 strangers had done what he couldn't. They had simply shown up. Richard cleared his throat quietly. Thank you for being here with her. Daniel nodded humbly. No child should spend their birthday alone. Those simple words hit Richard harder than any business negotiation ever had. That night, after Daniel and Lily left, Richard sat beside Emily's bed longer than he had in years. He looked at the drawing Lily had given her. 3 people holding hands. He realized something painful. Success had made him powerful, but it had also made him absent, and sometimes, the most valuable gift a person can give isn't money. It's time. A week later, Daniel received an unexpected phone call. It was Richard Lawson, but the call wasn't about business. It was about gratitude, and an opportunity that would change all their lives, because sometimes, the smallest act of kindness can create the biggest ripple. And on one quiet birthday afternoon, a single dad and his little girl reminded a powerful CEO of something he had almost forgotten: what truly matters in life. That if this story touched your heart, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who believes kindness can still change the world. And remember, sometimes walking over to someone who feels alone can change their entire life.